Okay, we're going to tie a generic Klinkhammer pattern. Nothing particularly special about this, the pattern that I'm tying. One difference I would say is the fact that I'm using an Osprey standard grub hook, which just gives it a little bit more curvature down, which is going to drop the abdomen a little deeper in the water. A lot of the Klinkhammer hooks that you buy generally have a much more shallow curve to them. Which probably is a more true representation of the way that the insects hatch at the surface. But I like to tie them, or at least have a variation on these grub hooks, just to drop that down into the surface a bit more, below the film, which just gives the trout a little bit more temptation, I think, sometimes. So yeah, it's worth having both, ultimately. Tie it, this is on a size 14, tie it anything down to even size 12 down, right down to 20, 22, if your fingers are nimble enough. The pattern itself comprises, we've got Veevus ASO in olive, we've got Hareline PMD pale morning dun Superfine in olive, and there's Orvis Spectrablend in brown olive, and it's an Antron post with a fiery brown Hebert minor genetic Hackle wound around it. Okay, so what I have done with this one as well, I've finished it underneath the post, just under there, which you might be able to see if we get the angle right. Let's see, give it a little turn. You might be able to see it there, which gives a really neat way of finishing the Klinkhammer. And what it does, it probably drops the thorax down a little deeper into really right into the film, which may help the Klinkhammer fish a little bit better as well. Okay, so let's see. Get the hook in the vise. Okay, so first, just to mount the hook, we want this part nice and horizontal, really, so that we can get the post tied in, and we're going to be working from a nice level kind of playing field then as well when we do that. Okay, so we'll just start with our Antron post. Just got about an inch or so of Antron polyester, a little quick pinching loop straight on, and now what I'm going to do is keep the thread flattened as I go up the post here. All Klinkhammers and parachutes can be tied without the use of a gallows tool, provided you get the use of the thread control, which is what I'm doing. I'll explain in a sec. But what you find is you can keep the thread tight when you have hold of the post, and then let it just a little bit loose as you come round the front. So it's loose there, and then pull it tight. So I've gone up about 6 or 7 turns, just work my way down now, down the post. Okay, so that's going to give me a really good bed on which I'm going to tie the hackle in, which we'll do in a short while. Okay, so again, just flatten my thread a little as we go back down the bend now. Okay, and now I'm going to put in the dubbing for the abdomen, which is our Hareline Superfine in PMD olive. The PMD is an American fly referred to as the pale morning dun. Okay, so we're just going nice touching turns now, just to build up a nice abdomen now as we go all the way up to the post like that. So that's a nice taper we've got there. Okay, now I'm going to tie in the genetic hackle. So this is the fiery brown hackle. Now what I've done, I've left a short bare piece of stem there, which is just enough to go from the eye to the base of the post and then up the post. And that's what you'll see now as I tie this in. Go over one wrap just from behind the eye. Just a couple there like that. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wind this up. So let me just flatten my thread once more. Keep it nice and flat as we go up again. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we come back down also. Okay, now something else that I've just done, you may have noticed, you may not. I've tied the genetic hackle in with the concave side, which is this side of the feather, into the post. Now what that means is that when I pull the feather round, the concave side is pointing up, and consequently as I wind round now, I've got what's referred to as concave up. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Personally, that's my preference. Some people prefer to tie it with the concave side facing down. Personally, I prefer concave up. Okay, so now I'm just going to put some double in now for the thorax. So this is our Orvis Spectrablend in brown olive. And just alternate almost like a figure eight really. Between the two. Okay, now what you need to do this tie-in that we're going to do, I have to go round the post and then leave the tie-in thread on the front side, so it's coming down the front side here. Okay, it's important that you do that, otherwise this whip finish that I'm about to finish with, to tie in the hackle and finish the fly, doesn't actually work. Okay, so we're going to move down now, concave side facing up. Let's see, and there we go, that's going to do us. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just grab hold of the genetic hackle with my hackle pliers, and I'll give myself a bit of space. What I'm now going to do is spin my thread so it goes nice and fine, so the opposite to flattening it. We'll get it nice and fine. Okay, and I'll now do a whip finish, and what I'm going to do is drop down underneath at the back, just nudge up above the eye. Okay, again, just drop down, lift up, drop down, lift up, drop down, one more and we're done. There you go, and that's the whip finish around the base of the post. Just grab hold of the post. I can now release my hackle pliers, and you can see that's all fully tied in now with the whip finish. So it's a whip finish that's tied in the hackle and finish the fly off as well. Just nip that off, and there you have it. Now it just needs final touch of just a little bit of runny varnish, and it is important that you have runny varnish for this, as you'll see, because we need to drop it on the edge where we've whip finished, and just let that run down under its own volition to soak into where we need it. For added security, you can also drop one into the top onto the post and let that run down. Okay, and then that's the finished Klinkhammer with PMD olive abdomen, Spectrablend brown olive thorax, an Antron post with a Hebert minor fiery brown genetic cock hackle wound around it. Okay, hope you enjoy.